Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this Aura event called Discover Aura. Thank you very much for taking time to join us today. It's very good to have your company. We have guests with us from the Aura membership who are volunteering their services to actually talk with us today about the reasons for joining Aura and the benefits of Aura. My name, for those of you who haven't seen me before, is Tom Kerr. I lead events at Aura. I've been doing this for a number of years, and I'm going to hand you over to Stephen Darby, who is gainfully employed at the Leeds Building Society, but who volunteers his time as Director of Events here at Aura. So I will pass you over to Stephen. Stephen, over to you.
Hello. Unfortunately, you definitely won't see me because I can't get my camera working, but I am here. I am happy to talk through all things Aura, particularly, as Tom said, as the director, but I do use Aura in my day job as the Leeds Building Society Research Manager and get a huge amount from my time, both as a member and then obviously more personally as being a director. And you can take it from me, I wouldn't be a director of something that I didn't think I was getting some value from. So that is hopefully evidence of why I'm there. Normally I start these sessions with saying you probably know all about Aura, but obviously that won't be the case in this instance because that's why you're here to hear about us. So I will give you a little bit of info and then we're going to pass on to everybody else to talk about their benefits and what they get from it from very different perspectives. But Aura itself, we are a huge, I'm happy to say huge now, networking client-side organization that is exclusively for client-side researchers. So that really sets us apart. So everything that we discuss and everything that we talk about is always from the perspective of the clients and the client side. Now we do work with, we've got positive relationships across the industry with lots of researchers and lots of research companies and lots of other parties similar to ours like the MRS and etc. etc. But we are the only one that is exclusively for client-side researchers. And we're, as Tom said, I'm a volunteer and everyone on this call is volunteering their time to support Aura, and we're led entirely by volunteers. We have one or two people that we contract on Aura for very specific requirements. So that is at the moment Tom and Suzanne are predominantly the people you'd have heard from. Tom doing all the events and Suzanne doing the marketing, and there's some changes afoot there, but that's kind of the people that we pay and have a lot of contact and interaction with everybody else. But what brings us all together, as you can see from the screen, is that we're all united in a want to enhance how research is landed, the impact it has within all of our organizations, and the best way to do that is to share with each other best practice, help overcome problems and questions and queries, and we're able to do that because we're all coming at these things from a very similar perspective. That's kind of why we're here, really. So we can move on to the next slide.
Why is it not moving forward? Perhaps that's the reason.
So all of the content that we bring is always high quality, and it's not a case of people who send us stuff automatically get a chance to have shared with you and the wider membership. We actively go through all of the content that we're asked to share and select from that the very best of the industry. We as the subcommittee that I'm a member of and that I help run is actually the Events and Awards subcommittee, and we take a lot of time each week to review everything that's going on with our members and with our agency friends, talking about all of the really high quality insight that's being delivered across the industry, and then we pick the best of the best and get that shared with you and all of our wider members. And there's a kind of a couple of real golden rules, is that as it says on the screen, the webinars and the seminars mustn't be a sales pitch. They are often supported or ran with an agency, but they are never that agency pitching for your business. They're talking about a real case, a real thing that they've done with a real client. And if that then happens to catch people's attention or makes people interested, then you're welcome to get back in touch with those agencies. But that's not the reason that we have them there. We have them there to demonstrate the really good insight that they've delivered for their clients. And the fact that we're volunteers means that all of your membership money, as little as it is kept to deliver the best events and to deliver one of the best industry award processes, which we're currently in the midst of now as well. So we don't waste any of that money, we don't spend it frivolously, we're very conscious of it, and it's why we can keep the costs, which I know somebody else is going to talk you through shortly, is how we can keep those costs at a very reasonable rate. But it is driven by making the best use of people who benefit from the system and from being members of it, and therefore helping deliver it and expand it to you. I'll kind of leave it there unless there's any very specific questions for me, but I think it's probably best to pass on to Nicola and you can take the reins.
Thank you, Stephen. So what we'll do now, we've got 3 of us volunteers who are all members. So I'm Nicola Stevens. I'm from Close Brothers, we're a finance company. I'll talk you through what I and my team get out of Aura. Then I'll hand over to Astrid, who you'll be able to see as a fellow panelist. Astrid is from Principality Building Society. She'll give her perspective, and then Bogdan as well. He's going to give his viewpoint. Now, it's completely coincidental that all 3 of us are from financial services, because the first point I'm supposed to be making is that what's wonderful that we really get from Aura is that it is different industries, it's different companies. You're hearing from grocery companies, from financial services, from not-for-profits, and that's one of the things that is really, really helpful. You're getting outside of your own vertical industry and finding out a bit more about what others are doing and getting those different ideas to bring across. So we'll speak about each of our 3 areas, and then when we get to do a little bit of a roundup, Bogdan will pass back to me, and then it's time for your questions and answers. So as you are going through, as you're hearing us talk, please do be thinking about what you would like to know, and we'll have plenty of time to answer those after we've talked through our viewpoints. And what is really useful here about the Friendly Inclusive Knowledge Sharing Network is you've got a couple of quotes from our members. So when we started to run these kinds of Discover Aura sessions, we went out on the forum, which Bogdan's going to talk about later, to ask other members what they got out of Aura. So everything you see here is a genuine, not synthetic quote from another member of what they get from Aura. So we have everything from teams of 1, which I was at one point, up to teams of over 20 from all across the UK. As I mentioned, a real wide range of industries and different sectors, everything from not-to-profits to FTSE 100s, pretty much everything in between. So if you can imagine a size of a team or a type of work that they do or a sector that they're in, you've probably got a member organisation to cover it, because we now have over 800, actually it's updated even since we wrote this slide, over 800 individual members across nearly 200 member companies. So Tom, if you just click to the next one.
Sure, here we go.
So this is me and my team. We are very proud that we won an Aura last year on return on investment for Insight. But aside from that, what we have found particularly useful from Aura is the team development, because they're not just learning from me. So I've got over 16, 17 years worth of experience with the industry. My team, far less so. They're much more recent in, and it would be quite biased if they were only listening to and hearing my experiences. So what we get from Aura and what my team are really passionate about is finding out and hearing different ideas. And the way that we do that is sometimes we divvy up who's going to go to which webinar, what they're going to come back and talk about. But it's all about sparking those new and different ideas. We did enter the awards last year. We were very fortunate to be shortlisted, and as you can see, we did win one. That in itself gave the team a real boost and gave even further credibility to the team and for us around the organisation. We've got a good reputation, but by being able to have those extra pieces around being independently recognised, well, you can see the smiles on people's faces, right? It was really, really, and we got that from being shortlisted, let alone from winning. So that's what we get from it, that variety of perspectives, and the fact that they are learning from different people, different industries, and getting a whole host of different ideas to bring back and work out what could we be doing better or differently to help our organisation and the value of our insight. So I'll pass you over to Astrid to talk about her perspective.
Thank you, Nicola. So for me, I've been a member of Aura since 2021. I joined Principality Building Society while we were in the pandemic. We didn't really have much going on in terms of training because we're quite a small company and we are a team of 3. So it was a no-brainer to join Aura because the company had already joined it. But what I found the most, I guess, beneficial for me is all the webinars that we were able to access from the comfort of our own home. So you can see on the screen an example of some of the latest ones that have been presented by Aura in, I think, since maybe mid 2023, but we get about once a month a webinar, and then there's a face-to-face event as well that are happening in London, but also recently we had one in Leeds, there was one in Manchester earlier this year. So wherever you are, hopefully, you can get to 1 or 2 per year. The variety of the webinar is wide, and I think Bogdan will show you a bit of the websites in when he speaks, to show you that you can actually access those webinars if you miss them or if you want to see the slides afterwards. So as Stephen said, they're usually led by the client side. So some agencies are coming, and that gives you amazing ideas of what you could use within your company. But it's also always with the view of the client delivering it to their own company. So how to make the company a bit more insightful. If you can move to the next slide, please. So for me, as I said, Principality was already a member, so I was in it from day one. But it's given me a great, I guess, way to meet new people, get a network of people that I wouldn't get to meet. As Nicola said, there's a really wide number of companies from different sectors. I was in Quirks 2 weeks ago, meeting loads of people that I've spoken to either on the forum or seen on webinar, but never really met. So that was a really good opportunity. Sorry. And if you're a member of Aura, you can go to Quirks for free. That's one of the perks. We also have the awards, like Nicola mentioned, and that's a really good, again, another way to meet fellow members and do some more networking. So I think that's one of the great things, is loads of different opportunities. The webinar, if you want to stay at home, the live events face-to-face, if you want that, I guess, buzz in the room, and then the Quirks or the awards that are giving, I guess, an opportunity to celebrate all the people that are doing a great work. I will now pass on to Bogdan.
Yep. So for me, what brings most value from Aura is the knowledge bank and the forum. So on the knowledge bank, the name speaks for itself. So this is where we hold all the presentations and webinar recordings. So if you missed an event or if you missed a webinar, you can always go back and see the slides and the recording, so you can easily catch up. And I've actually just used yesterday, I used the knowledge bank to look for some customer closeness case studies, and I've seen that the Quirks presentations, so Quirks happened earlier in May for those who got the chance to go. The Quirks presentations are already uploaded on there, so you can really quickly catch up with what happened at Quirks also. So yeah, I think it's a real time saver, and it's a real asset to have when you're looking for information. So rather than spending time Googling, looking for not so relevant information, you can get to case studies straight to the point, and you can get in touch with the people who have presented, because in most cases it's a mix of agencies and Aura members who are doing the presentations, and you'll see Nicola's face around some of the presentations in there as well. And then the knowledge bank is also organized by topics, so you can either go let's say by year when it comes to the event, so you can see this year's, last year's events and so on, and also topics, so you can see anything related to, for example, quantitative analysis or specifics from agencies and so on. And what complements really well the knowledge bank is the member forum. So I like to think of the member forum as basically your neighborhood's Facebook group, but for your inside neighbors. So the group works really well because you can see what other people have asked in the past, so you can just have a browse, and again organized by subject, so it's easy to navigate, and also if you have a question you can always post it in there, and someone is very likely that they've had similar experiences or similar questions like you in the past, and they'll be able to help you. Yep, and if we can move to the next slide. Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, for me the top things from Aura are the access to the knowledge bank and to the forum, really. So I think it's a very, very good resource and tailored to exactly what we look for usually, and then you get unbiased feedback on agencies and also on methodologies. So we always know that each agency will say that they're the best on the topic. Obviously, it's their job to sell themselves, but you can ask, again, you can put a question on the forum, or you can seek previous feedback on specific agencies or methodologies from on the forum. And then again, as I was saying earlier, any questions you have that you don't find the answer, or if you feel like it's the question that you found is outdated, you can just ask any questions on the forum. There are absolutely no restrictions, and you'll surely find someone to give you their feedback or their opinion. And you don't have to be on the forum all the time to see whatever is being posted. You do get weekly emails with the new topics. So if something sparks your interest, you can just see the email then and there, and then click on the link to find out more about the topic. So you don't have to make it a task to go on the forum every day to see what's been posted. That's all from me.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you each in turn for beautiful summations of your reasons for being with Aura and the benefits of Aura. I think it was beautifully summed up. This aspect of going to the forum was beautifully summed up by a comment from one of our members who said, it's like having access to 800 experts when I have a challenge that I'm not quite sure how to tackle. Really nice comment.
Yeah. And recently, Tom, we've had a few things on the forum where people have posed a question, and we've had 2 or 3 people saying, oh, I haven't done all of that, but here's a couple of ideas of things that we've tried or started. And then there's also been another 3 or 4 people going, oh, I've got that same question. And then people have organized a call has been set up within a week or so, and then everyone's just gotten a call to have a bit of a discuss and share ideas and share where you all are. So it's not the case that you will always just ask a question and feel bad because someone else has got the answer and already done it. So much you get other people going, we've got the same question as well, and then that's both reassuring that you've got some of the same challenges as other people, but people have set up little mini groups just to meet informally to have a discussion through of different ideas or methodologies or agencies or that kind of thing as well, which has been there's been quite a bit more of that over the last few months as well, which has been really useful.
It's one of those great benefits. I mean, the simple fact that people are so open and willing to help, and I guess because everybody has been through the same challenges, and we all know exactly what it feels like to be faced with a new challenge that we maybe haven't dealt with before, and just to be able to reach out to others and say, okay, he's done this, let's have a chat, let's talk about it, and let's get together even and come up with some solutions. Yeah, super.
So we'll just round up those reasons that we've talked through, and then we'll go into Q&A. So Tom, are people adding questions into the Q&A function or a chat box? Let me just signal that before I do the final.
There aren't any questions in the Q&A box at the moment. I can see that it's empty.
Well, people are thinking. So, you've heard there from all 3 of us that we get completely different but yet complementary things from the Aura membership. So it's one of these things that really is what you need out of it and what you make of it. There's a real mixture of people who, even within the membership, much prefer to do the webinar side of things. They really enjoy that side of things. There's others who prefer and also have the company opportunity to be able to go to some of the in-person events as well. The fact that it runs, we have both, means it's good for all kinds of styles of learning and preferences, as well as people who have more or less time to put to this, as well as kind of travel as well. So there's definitely something to cater for everybody. And as Astrid said, free tickets for Quirks London once a year, which now are up here, I think it's nearly 199. That's a nice extra benefit that goes in there as well. So whether you're a team of 1 or you're a team of up to 20, there's such a big network that you are able to access, and that bank of knowledge that's already there, as well as new things coming up in the future.
Forever being added to.
Indeed, indeed.
There's a lovely quote there about Aura's incredible value for money compared to the MRS membership, for example. I don't recall who actually made that statement.
I think we kept that anonymous on purpose, Tom.
I mean, we do collaborate with the MRS, of course we do. We collaborate really closely with the AQR, ICG, IMA, SMR, and the MRS. And though we talk about networking and learning and support, the MRS is where training comes from. So we would direct members towards the MRS for training. When we talk about learning, we're really talking about sharing best-in-class case studies, so that we can learn about the best practices in the country today. So it's much more that kind of focus than on the specifics of MRS type training.
And this member was also then talking about how far they can get their budget to stretch. So that's one thing that we get asked, and we've spoken to other people. So so currently it's £600. That's for the whole year for up to 4 people within your team. One of my team has booked onto another different individual training thing, and that is 1 day, and it's nearly £500. So £600 for a whole year for 4 people, around 50 quid a month. It's really good value. And then again, about how much you can make the most of it. We do have members who fund this from their Insight budget. We have members who ask and put forward a case to finance specifically for it. And we also have members who have gone to their learning and development department and asked for funding there, because especially when they're starting to equate, and particularly if you're in a cost challenged environment, the ability to say, and I've definitely done this, not only in the last few years, but quite a few years ago, I've said I will forgo other training things and opportunities because I believe so much in this, and actually let's just have this much and that will cover the whole team. So every organization will be different, but there's different ways of thinking about in terms of who in your organization might be able to support you if this isn't within your own remit to be able to sign off the cost yourself.
And just to clarify, Nicola, when you said £500 for a training event, that was £500 for a single day training event with another organisation.
Absolutely.
Kind of gives
and then
us
you compare that to this.
This gives us a frame of reference. And that's very much book learning, as it were, direct training, as opposed to experiential learning of an Aura nature.
Yeah, cool. Totally.
Cool.
I just wanted to ask, because it's mentioned there and nobody really mentioned it. I did it briefly, but recently we had workshops with agencies. So 1 Minute to Midnight and Kokoro organized days where we were invited along with some of their customers to benefit basically from spending a day with them, being exposed to some of their way of working, some of the innovation that they're using doing research. And I found it really insightful and just refreshing to see something a bit different than what we're doing within our sectors. And that was, I think that's priceless, because we couldn't get it if unless you're a customer of this specific agency, but you wouldn't be able to get that. So that's something that was brilliant. Nicola, you were there as well.
Mm. I think that's a really great point, because what you're really stressing there, Astrid, is the fact that though a lot of our case studies are member-driven case studies, of course, there is this aspect where part of our remit is to bring in agencies into line of sight of the members, because nobody has the time anymore to do the old-fashioned credentials pitch business. It's just a thing of the past. And so to be able to see agencies in practice, either with members or in the instance of, I love the way you say Kokoro, I think I would say Kokoro, but so whether it's the agency themselves showcasing a working model that they have, we can bring case studies and we can bring agencies into line of sight of the members. That's a super point. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we have a couple of questions in. Shall we tackle those? First one from an anonymous attendee. Are you able to share examples of what's in the knowledge bank?
I can take that if you want. It's
Stephen,
Stephen.
I thought you might, yes.
Yeah, so we can share examples, but we can probably go one step better than that. The actual content of the knowledge bank is the content of all of our webinars, and often the seminars as well, where it's relevant. So rather than sharing, which they're locked down for members only as part of the member benefit, as I think Bogdan was talking about, one thing we can do is there's opportunity to discover Aura. So if those of you have already discovered Aura like this and are coming to hear us talk about it, can also come along to one of our events in the future for free of charge, without having to be a member at that stage, and just come along and actually see some of the stuff happening live. So it's probably even better than sharing the knowledge bank, which we couldn't do specifically, but we can. That will give you evidence of what's in there by experiencing it.
I think the important thing to add to it, Stephen, of course, is the fact that the events are all driven by member demand. So we're actually tackling topics which are hot topics in the industry. So, for example, when we're looking forward to September, it's going to be brand tracking, which is a perennial favorite. So that's come from member demand. When we've looked at, well, Bogdan's already alluded to the fact that you could go in to look at customer experience, work and customer closeness. So again, member-driven events that, so we listen closely, we hear what's being said, we put the events on to meet to meet the member demand. Plus, members are continuously getting in touch with us to actually volunteer presentations that they would like to make to Aura members, because they're proud of the work that they've done. So the knowledge bank covers everything under the sun. I mean, that sounds like a glib expression, but Aura has been going for 60 years, and we have covered every and I hasten to add, I haven't been involved in Aura for 60 years, for anybody out there who's thinking I must have been around from the beginning. But we have covered every topic. So there is material there on every aspect of research. In Great Britain, it's a UK oriented remit. We specifically operate within the UK, which answers the second question. That was
We do,
asked.
but our members don't, which is probably fair to point out, Tom, that lots of our members are across the globe, but we as an organisation concentrate on the UK.
Yeah, nice point. So we have, so Dawn, I think we've covered your question in terms of it's only UK or it's UK only. Ashley is asking, do we have members who are in the gambling industry, or any guidance on research in this industry, as finding it's very difficult to run research without hitting legal or compliance issues? Astrid, you're going to pick that up?
No, sorry, I was just clicking that we were
Okay,
live.
you were picking on it.
I thought that was a very random one for you to pick up, Astrid.
Yeah, I
Sorry, no,
I did too.
I'm happy to take that one as well, Tom.
Okay.
So actually, we do have members. Obviously, we're not going to share all the names of all the different members, but we do have members that are involved in the gambling industry, and I'm sure if you were to join, would be more than happy to kind of share best practice and approaches, as Nicola was talking about earlier, through the forum or through other methods. If there's enough people, it might even generate conversations as a group as well. But yeah, we do have members that are in and of that world. Yeah.
Okay. Cool, well responded. There's one more question on here, which I could just take. It's once I'm a member, does the company I work for have to share case studies examples? No is the answer. There's no requirement to feel the need to share work. It's a voluntary thing, and when we do have a topic, we do go to the members and ask for volunteers to come forward to actually present case studies. But it is exactly that. It's a voluntary thing. And clarification being sought to the reference to UK. Am I right in thinking the research and insights are UK only? No, the research would be beyond the UK. So there are companies who are involved in international research, but the membership is UK-based companies. Stephen, do you want to add to that? Oh, sorry.
No, all I was going to say, if this particular attendee, if you want to speak to someone about that in more detail, then we can always do so. If we need to cover that off in a little bit more, unless Stephen can cover it now. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
No,
cohort.
no, he's not.
No, he's
That's
not.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly. So there is, you know, as I was saying, that our members do research internationally, but we concentrate on stuff that maximizes the impact on the members, and all of our members are UK based as well as other stuff. So it tends to be that our insight is used from the UK, but a lot of the insight is shareable or usable with international audiences. Obviously some parameters on that, and then depending on which audiences they are and how that lands. But we have had people come in and talk about different projects around the world. It's not solely UK based things, but I would say more often than not that is the case.
And as Nicola has already said, special interest groups do form. So there will be a cohort of members who are engaged in international research, and it's really easy to post something in the forum, going back to the references that Bogdan made, to actually raise the topic of international research and to draw a group together to actually discuss and explore and seek solutions. So that can be done. So we have something in chat. A question about members in gambling. We have Paddy Power. Oh, there we go. We have Paddy Power, Betfair, and Alwyn. The company took over from Camelot to run the National Lottery. Can't think of others off the top of my head. Thanks, Suzanne. Suzanne is responsible for marketing here at Aura, or has been for the last 5 years. So there we go. So Suzanne has actually picked out a number of companies off the top of her head that are in the gambling space. So that adds another dimension to the answer to the question. Thank you, Suzanne. Nice to have you on the call. Okay, well, there are no more questions. I think I'll just close that down. Oh, no, didn't want that to happen.
If anyone does have any follow-up questions after this, and they think there's anything you want to get involved in, then feel free to get in touch with us. But the easiest way to do that is to join up, be a member, come and experience all the benefits.
And there's a black and white square box that can be used to try one of our events, and one below, which is actually more direct, which is about joining now. If you want to get your phone out and utilize your phone. Excellent. Okay, I think it's
We
been
have
really good.
one more question.
Oh, well spotted. Well spotted, Astrid.
I was thinking of mentioning it, but I wasn't really at the core group that worked on it. So I don't know if anybody knows more than me about the Working World Charter, but
yeah, I'm happy to take that as well. I'm just very conscious that you can't see me, so it doesn't land very well when you can't see me talking about something that's so important. But yeah, as a organization, we have taken without giving you the whole spiel or the whole presentation, we have taken on following some research that the MRS did in 2019 that recognised there's a huge amount of stress across the industry, both on the agency and on the client side, across various different factors and reasons for that. But we as an organisation have taken that to the next step, and very much led by Suzanne, who's been in the background on this call, in setting up a charter of working well together across the industry, and how we can best work in support of our agency and client side colleagues. So it's about making sure things like we treat people with each other with respect. So things what might seem simple and obvious steps, but actually really makes a huge difference, is things like not ghosting when we've asked for work or responses to briefs, not then ignoring them once the agencies have gone to the trouble of submitting and providing responses, giving open and honest feedback, managing stakeholder relationships on behalf of the agency to make sure that those requests are fair, accepting that agencies are people as well as ourselves, and that out of hours work should be kept to a minimum to make sure that people are allowed their downtime and can switch off, and that budgets are reflective of what they should be, potentially ideally going to agencies with a budget in mind, so that the agencies don't spend a lot of time coming up with brilliant solutions to a problem that you haven't got the capacity to land. But then also expecting agencies to understand when work is critical and why there might be some out of hours contact, and recognizing that demonstrates a real need for extra support rather than becoming the norm. And just, I mean, I can't go into all of it in the next 5 or 6 minutes, but if you are interested in that, please go to the Aura website, regardless of whether you decide to join as an organization, have a look at the charter, and ideally, from a client side perspective, sign up to that charter, and you'll and just adopt the principles that it is offering. One of the ones that I've already started doing internally and brought my procurement team along with is to stop going out to 5, 6, 7, 8 agencies to respond to briefs, and just keep simplifying that down to 3 as a maximum, using my own skills and knowledge to kind of already do that first pass of removing people who I know are not going to pick up the work, and then go out to 3 agencies who've got a real opportunity of landing the brief, so that the work that they put in is meaningful and is purposeful, and then offering each of them feedback whether they're successful or not. That's just a couple of real life examples, but please go, if you're interested in that and you want to hear a bit more about it, please go to the Aura website and have a look at the charter and ideally commit to it.
If I could add a point to it as well, Stephen, to say that it is in collaboration with the MRS. It was an MRS survey from 2019, as you say, but Suzanne and Ruth, who have really been behind this initiative, have had lengthy conversations with the MRS. So the MRS are very supportive of what we're doing here, as are the other bodies as well. So this is a collaborative effort which Aura is taking the lead on, but it's being supported by every other association as well. So, yep, that's the charter.
We had there was one other question there that Astrid's answered directly, but just so that everyone else has seen it, whether the recording will be being shared. If you go onto the Aura website, on that first page, without even being a member, you'll be able to see the recording of the session that we've done today, and you'll get some follow-up information as well.
Okay, okay, yeah, perfect. That's the link to the Working Well Together charter. Thank you for doing that, Astrid. Okay, I think we're there, unless there are any other questions from amongst the panel of yourselves.
No,
Nope.
not from me. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time, everybody, for supporting the Aura and sharing the benefits you get from it.
And I'll echo that. It's been great, Bogdan, Astrid, Nicola, for you to take time to come along and talk about your experiences as members of Aura, and to share those with prospective members of Aura. Aura has historically, as I said, it's been around for 60 years. It's been historically quite a well-known secret with a very enthusiastic member base. It has been growing of late, post-COVID. Things are returning to normal again, and the membership is steadily increasing, and we will welcome any additional members who care to take advantage of the services that are available from the team here at Aura. So, echoing thank you from Stephen, from our panelists, thank you to everybody who's joined us today, and we look forward to having contact from you, and hope that you step forward and at least explore more about Aura and get involved in the conversation. So I think we will leave it at that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
from us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.